a few different scenarios run through my head at this very moment. One, it's to me, it's the thing that we should be thinking about. We're at almost that make it or break it. Not even the make it or break it, because it's not even a break it in the sense of, oh, we're done, it's all over, even if it went down, or even if it breaks out, it's not 100% confirmed until we make another layer. But we're getting to that. It's kind of like the apex zone of this consolidation we're in. And it's going to have to decide here one way or the other. And I suspect we're probably going to need further consolidation. But that's not a bad thing. Like, I don't think that's a bad thing. I just didn't think the Golden Cross was strong enough to hold here. Likely. But that's not necessarily the case if it can... Well, it's not that I don't think it can hold it. It's just I think it's a better idea for it to come down farther and grab those liquidity zones. Back test some of these areas. Create that inverse right shoulder. You know, try to form some kind of functionality within a pattern. And I think that would help its cause. Even if it just comes down to now, let's see in real time. It's going to be right around $2 still. Maybe, yeah, $2. We'll call it $2. But, you know, we've been able to hold here, but in the last about 6 to 8 hours, we've had a little bit of a drop. And we've lost the 20-day pretty good now. And it's been almost a 3%, well, about 2.6 as of right now. Still above the 200-day. But we'll see if this does, in fact, project down a little bit here. As it could very well have a sneaky head. And I know it's weird in these smaller time frames, but you technically could have formed a very slick head and shoulder, like kind of a topping reversal here. You know, so if that's the case, we'll just reset, and it would make a lot of sense to come back down into that area. It makes the most sense to come down there. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see if some volume comes in and gets injected. We've talked about how we really could use some volume right now. DGB's been pretty much an outlier here, up 4.5% on the day, my baby. You know, but even my baby's getting caught up here the last few hours. As we had a heavy wick, but it's maintained. It had a little bit of a death cross that it's trying to work out right now. If it does manage to use this as a shoulder here, it'll bounce up here to about that 103. But there's a few things that we've watched. I've watched a couple things go down already 10 to 15% today after those nice breakouts in the last few days. MXC, for some of you who are in it, has taken the downward trajectory as of right now, but it's still in this channel. Like, it's in very much a rising channel. Had a big wick down, big wick up. And we talked about how it would now yesterday it would have to melt up and down. We just didn't, you know, yesterday it looked like it was going to take the up direction first. But it had a melting event on both sides. So you've seen it melt up. Now you're going to probably watch it melt down. And the fact that it melted up first gives it a lot more potential to break through this bottom side and come back down to the support structure we talked about at that 1-1. So be careful, be cautious out there. Yes, opportunity looms at all moments. But make sure your opportunity's in the right spectrum. Like right now, I could argue the opportunity is more in precious metals. In particular, the gold mining stocks, if you're looking for the gold side of it, or silver miners. Like silver is, and even, you know, the reason why it's a good opportunity is because even if it breaks down, that's when you can absolutely, in those mining sectors, you can start to divvy in. And not necessarily have to buy it all at once, but you could watch for these strategic times when it starts to break down or corrects. But it could be a while. You know, it very well could be a while. So we will we'll just transcend this market and watch it as it continues to play through and as it continues to unfold here. Julie, I think he wants a snack. Yeah, he walked over there. And we'll also watch the Dow Jones. I'm going to talk a little bit quieter because my son's out here. But we've also got the Dow Jones was down 155 points today, or 0.38%. So that's, you know, somewhat of an outlier here. Just that the market couldn't gain any real steam. But it's been pretty flat, you know, over the first part of the week. But we definitely have the little correctiveness here. It's just a matter of, is the market going to give it back? Because much like crypto, I mean, you could argue that this pulled into almost, I don't want to say a rising wedge, but You know, the market's got to come through here. It's not just crypto; it's just got to come through here. U.S. dollar came back by about 1.5%, so it's back at least to 100 pair. But yeah, we'll look through this. XRP's at 666. It was at 211,666. Theta was at 66.6 cents, which was funny. When we left here yesterday, one of the last things we looked at was First Majestic. Sorry, I was just looking at my son. We were looking at, yeah, it was First Majestic. It was at 666 yesterday when it closed. So we've been seeing a lot of like little weird things in the charts, but they haven't broke down yet. Like that's the good news. The good news here is if you're looking at it from a second perspective, you haven't broke down yet. We just we're seeing areas where we definitely are showing signs of breaking down. So we're just gonna be transformative here, and we're gonna pay attention to the charts, not just in the short term, but also trying to project out. If let's say it breaks down, we could see this little projection based move. So, and then we know if it were to stay up, that I think that it's a better way to look at it is on this chart because I actually measured the movement. It's a 21% zone. So basically, from the top to the bottom of where this can move from here, it was a 21. Well, not from where it's at now, but from what the top, it could have moved 21% in dynamic, which is a 38-cent move. So if you're a leverage trader, that gives you a lot to look at from the standpoint of, okay, well, at a 38 or a 21% move, even at a 4x, I can still get liquidated on that maximum move down. Now, if you wanted to maintain bullishness in the short term and not have to come down for the next week or so going into Easter, then you would want to see nothing worse than bounce and out, right? So then you have the inverse left shoulder to a head to an inverse right shoulder, slightly inclined, and a breakout. Now, if that doesn't happen, you get the other part. So I'll just keep it both like that so you can see. But both ways can be very bullish. The one just validates the breakout. The other one is back inside of the inverse right shoulder inside that channel. It was a premature breakout, and then it would just be longer. That's all. So that's the basis we're at. I tend to lean to the fact we'll at least come back down and touch that like $1.95 to $2 area. But this is a case where I hope that I am over analyzing and that it doesn't actually need to go down that far. It's just it looks pretty jank for an inverse head and shoulders because that right side is not quite filled out, is it? So one way or another, we're gonna have to fill this out. Because I've not seen many inverse head and shoulders that the right shoulder looks like this. Or the right arm. So it seems to make sense that it would. Who knows in this crypto market, but it does seem like it would be more likely that it would come down and consolidate for a few days, and then by about the 22nd 21st, somewhere around there in April, we could start a week and have a nice opportunity to start. But we'll see. That's the beauty of crypto. Crypto is the most volatile asset, hands down. When you're in crypto, like everybody who has these expectations or they say, oh, we're going to have this run or that run or it's predictable. It's not. That's the beauty of crypto. It is not predictable in the least. And I mean, you can predict on the charts like are we more bearish or bullish or where can we go with break. Obviously, we can do formations. But at the end of the day, I hear so many people talk about, oh, I'm going to invest in crypto as a store of value. I'm going to invest in crypto for this and that and all the other things that I've ever heard thrown under the sun. Most of the way most people speak, they're talking about investing in like a real store of value, gold and silver, but that's not where we're at right now in crypto. We never will be, we never have been, and we'll never be in the future. This is not a store of value. What this is like a free-flowing casino. If you got the testicular fortitude, if you've got the understanding, even if you don't, you are welcome to trade in this chaotic space. I don't know what happened to my background. Whoops. But you are welcome to trade in this chaotic space. And there's no hold bar, basically. It's no holds. And based on your expertise level is how how we determine how much money you're going to make or lose. I don't know why this won't turn back on. I think I unplugged something. That's okay.
No background for you.
No background. I don't know what I did. Oh, there we go. Will you just put that back? No, I had it on. Yeah. So, I do appreciate everybody being in, but with what I'm saying with crypto is it's not like when you're going into it, it's more about timing the market, not time in the market. And this is the single biggest example is just being in crypto. It's not about how long you're in it. To say you've been in it 5 years doesn't really say anything. It just means you've missed like bull market endings, the opportunity to cash out and rebuy back in bear markets. Like, I understand the expectation, but just sitting in there 5 years, it doesn't guarantee anything. Look, if you would have just sat in altcoins for 5 years, I mean, most of them, you're not really done anything. Maybe lost a lot. Yeah, that's the one. But there's a lot of opportunity. It's just you got to lever your opportunities, and you got to kind of try to stay in a certain mindset, especially when you start to see more red than green. That's the time when you'll be tried, because right now it's not bearish yet. Even if it broke down, that's what I'm trying to get at here. I don't care if it breaks down or not. I don't really want it to, but it's not bearish. I like I said, it's about an 82% chance now that this breaks down with the way it's sitting, assuming we lose $2.08. Where it sits right now, it's about, in my opinion, 70%, just because we're still at the Golden Cross. And generally, I would say you got a 70% chance to break out. I just don't feel that right now. So I'm going to circumvent my own logic. Now, if I took my own bias out, I would say, okay, well, based on the indicators, you probably do have a 70% chance. But I'm looking at it being below the 20-day. It's had several chances to break out. We haven't had that volume influx anywhere. And I'm seeing another topping reversal in the short term. So, you know, call me crazy for making it prove it to me. But I've drawn out the scenario whether it breaks out. I've drawn the scenario if it wants to break down before it breaks out. You know, I've drawn the scenario to make this inverse right shoulder. And I've done it two different ways. One like that. And then the other one like this. And I think this is beautiful. This might be some of my best work I've done projecting into the future, regardless of what it does. And then also giving a range. And I did this more for James. I don't know if he's here because I haven't looked at the comments yet. But I was trying to show James like a more in-depth look of how my brain works, but also how this could look if it fills out and what we're exactly looking at. No, it's not an airplane like it looks like. But we're looking at, we're just looking at it in a way of, it's making an inverse pattern. We can already see the inverse left arm, the inverse left side, the inverse head. Now we're trying to inform the inverse right side. And yes, eventually it'll go into a shoulder and an arm if it's meant to be. But there's a lot that can happen before that. So with that being said, good evening. 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Tuesday, April 15th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire with the side bet on XLM and Future Digibyte OG. And I reside in the great state of Michigan. And I'm sure there'll be some comments when I turn this on. I just wanted to get through those thoughts. And I just think it's important. I think it's important to understand the balance here of how far we can possibly drop down and still be okay. You know, and I could lower it just so we can see the new expectation. So now we've got a 14.5% zone, right? So now, from where we're at, we could drop 14.8. Well, it's a little bit higher than that. Just put it a little. That's better. 15.3. Let's move this. Whoops. And I want to keep this range at all time balancing out, so we can move it back and forth depending on where it goes. And it's actually, you know, the tighter it gets, the more you can see how the opportunity changes. Because before it was like, what, 23%. So now if you had bought there and said, oh, I'm going to layer down. Well, now it's down to 8%. So now the range is tightened. It's getting closer. The smaller that range gets, the better of a buy it is if this creates that inverse head and shoulders. It's the best way I can put it. It's the best way I can put it. The money spot would be somewhere right here, right around Easter. I keep saying it. It's going to do this around Easter, and then it should consolidate out. And then if it does it on Easter by Monday, we could see some parabolic move up. And if it plays out like this, it would be a nice move because then you would swing around. Then you start retesting some of these tops that you have not been able to break out in a while. That's where you get back to the 265 area approximately. So we will see. I am definitely intrigued. And either way, we know if it breaks out, we're looking good. If it breaks down into that channel part, we're still fine as long as it doesn't break down that inverse head. And even if it breaks down a little bit and just touches that $2 mark, perfectly fine. If we run out right here, although the setup looks a little weirder because it doesn't have that elongated right side, it could just be that we're ready for that uptick and we get a little bit of volume. DGB, I love seeing it out ahead. You know, we've had some mixed signals today because, like I said, MXC's down like 11%. Filecoin's down about 4%. ZBCN's down 5.25%. That's not on my radar anymore after that failed push up. Well, you guys already know I don't hold it now, but that was a failed push up. It did make a few percent, but it didn't do what I thought it could do. But I wasn't going to sit through it on the way back down. Not like that's the thing with crypto. Like that's the other thing we talked about yesterday. Are we costing ourselves money by not just buying in on these big drops when we understand that there's got to be some kind of swing up, even if it's a bearish swing, and just holding through everything? Like it almost feels like with the knowledge we have that in this part of the cycle, since we did ride from a bear to bull market and now clearly back in a very big bear market, that it might be better because if you're in a bear market, I like to trade. If I'm in a bull market, I like to swaddle. So basically I buy it up, I hodl it in the bear market, and then I let it sit until I get to my destination in the bull market. If we're in bear market and it's just dropping over time, I like to swing. I made more money in 22 than I did in 21, which was crazy. You know, in 20, every year it's been a progressive uptrend. This year's been kind of weird because it's just been a weird year. It's been decent money in the market, but it's just been weird because it's been so volatile to the downside, and then it'll have these bounce backs and then back to the volatility. Very predictable on the weekends. Obviously, we haven't had one single weekend where it went green this entire year, truthfully. So yeah, we're on a journey for sure. We are on a journey for sure. So let's see what I got here. Frankie says, I want to enjoy my profits while I'm young. Yep. What's the breakout of Bitcoin in the falling wedge? I mean, if it holds, this first, I mean, there's two targets out of this breakout if it were to hold, but it's coming back down to back test, so we're going to have to re-justify these targets. If it wouldn't have come back down 93K or 90, yeah, right around 93.7, but now that it's flung back around here, you know, you have to change your expectation. Not by much, but these short-term breakouts would have been like 93,100 now. But this looks like a topping pattern is starting, so be careful. That's all I'm saying. Just be careful here. You know, and for this to create this inverse right-arm, we've already projected it out. And for Bitcoin, it would play down probably as low as 78. You know, it could come as low as there. Heck, if it wants to overshoot it, it could go farther. But right now, it doesn't look like we had the steam to just break out. And it's for the last couple of days, we've talked the same narrative. And it looks like it's playing out to the downside right now. I like Calm Tom. It's lowering my anxiety of feeling like I was hawked to wood. I like Calm Tom, too, because it lets me think better. Like button engaged. Yes. Thank you. If XRP does break down to 150, does it immediately recover? Well, that is the question of all questions. I can't possibly answer that. But maybe not. And I only say that because I know the fair value gap's at $1.50. But I've played this projection out to all of you, and it could come all the way down here even. But we've looked at it go from $1.38 to $1.50. And if we played it all the way out to the end of this, It could very well come all the way out until the end of the year. Remember the pumpkins, everybody. And we could find ourselves a situation after the pumpkins are out, another last dump. We could find a situation here where we end up breaking out from, lower levels. I would not be surprised if something like that played out. But in the short term, I mean, it's tricky here. It's tricky where you hit this, because if you do it before June, it's going to fall through this pattern, and then you better hope it does pull back. Otherwise, we're going to hunt some gaps here. I'm not particularly fond of hunting these lower gaps, if I'm being honest. Because if we hunt those gaps, it's never a good sign. That's the problem. It's never a good sign once you start hunting them. I mean, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't tell you if you should give up ZBAC for quant, because they both very well are at support structures. But listen, if these are failed attempts out and this doesn't create this inverse right shoulder, remember we talked about these. Like, you're talking about ZBAC flipping another zero. That's not a joke. Basically be in the same spot it's at now, except 1 0 down. And then it could be even worse. For quant, just remember, if one of them's doing it, like, I don't like the lateral flip. Like, I've never have. I don't like the, we're in a cycle downturn. And I understand it if we're in a bullish momentum turn and you already made money on one, and then you're like, oh, well, ZBAC's already up a couple 100%. Quant hasn't even moved. I'm going to make a move there, because I don't look at that as necessarily a lateral move, because one's already made the run. Right now, everything's dropping, so you got to kind of position yourself. Now, me personally, I'd much rather be in quant on a drop than ZBAC, because quant, even if it drops a lot, ZBAC is going to have much more drop potential just because of how low that price is. You don't need to lose much to lose 50% of your portfolio one day. And then people are like, oh, yeah, it went down 50%. And then the next guy's buying, and now it's down 50% of what it is at the new price. It's not hard to start getting trapped in that. So, but I don't like the lateral moves in, Yeah, I mean, can I just ask everybody a question? Everybody is always so how do you know we're going back into a bull season? Like, that's my question. How do you know? Because we were just in a bull cycle. I warned about Corium. I said did I not talk about it yesterday with Corium? When you guys said how high the APR was, and I said it's impossible for the price to stay, because they pay you on your losses. So, is that true about Corium, that it actually dropped like that today? It's down at there's no way it's down. No. That's European. I was going to say, there's no way it can be that cheap. I remember it was just at like 50 cents not too long ago. Where the hell is the US? It's really down to 11 cents again? Holy crap. This thing is falling off a cliff. Again. This was when it was the bullish scenario at the end, this is what it would have had to do, was break up. It broke down. Yeah, this is going to come. This is what I always say. When they offer such high APR or APY, that's why. Hey, if you just listen to me, James, what have I been saying? We're not even in a bull market anymore. I've been preaching to everybody to not buy these drops if you're not comfortable. The only one I said to buy was before we had the 25% move, and then I came on and said, listen, guys, if you bought this move, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the chart is showing that we're about to reverse here, and that's what the whole weekend talk was on Saturday. So, like, now we don't know. We don't know. We just need to break out. No, nobody's saying no alt season. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we've got to break out of this bear cycle now. Like, there's a few of them that are trying to push past this narrative, and DGB is one of the outliers every single time, but every single time it starts to break clear, we'll get this move that looks good, but then it ends up at the end of the day becoming bearish by the end of the day or the end of the week. There hasn't been an alt season. There has not been an alt season yet. XRP's had its own alt season, but it just ran out in front of everything. There's going to be something eventually. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's why I started out at the beginning of this and said it's not bad even if it goes down or it breaks out from here. It's just we got to pick our spots. That's all. I just didn't want to see anybody like I've been seeing for the last fucking 6 weeks keep buying in thinking it's the bottom and pushing that message. And then they're sitting here down 55% because they're buying the bottom, but it's not the bottom. It may seem like the bottom because we're down 50% from December or 60 or 75% in some cases, but it's still not the technical bottom until you can break back out and push back into a bull market. Like right now, all we're doing, we're creating lower highs and lower lows. That is horrible. Like, you do not want to be creating lower highs and lower lows. That just means that we have no oomph. Anyone looking at TARS AI, it's the AI used by... I'm not interested with Solana. With Solana, some connections with NVIDIA. To that extent, NVIDIA is so overpriced that I won't touch anything in with NVIDIA. So I'm not interested in that, to be honest. But it doesn't mean it's not a good idea, Shane. It just means, like, for me... This is the way I navigate. Somebody tells me about something with tech, and depending on what they're talking about, you know, NVIDIA, I just believe, is way overpriced and technology is way overblown. And there's so many chip makers that are better that we've seen recently, especially, that I just think it's overvaluation. So anything tied to it is going to get hammered in the future. Solana is the biggest pump and dump token pile of trash that you'll ever come into. It gets propped up because the rich people like to pump and dump it and make some money on it and just kind of screw with the retail. It's a pile of shit. It's had so many problems that it's so TARS AI, can we look at the chart? I mean, I don't know. We'll see, Shane. We'll see. We'll see. I've never looked at the chart, but I can almost guarantee in my head what I'm about to see. I don't even remember what you said the name was. TARS what? TARS AI. Let's see. Let's see what this is. I don't even know what the TARS AI... Oh, here we go. Exactly what I expected. I mean, I don't know. What exactly do you see here that looks good? This is exactly what I expected to see when you said Solana. Because these tokens depend on their networks. Solana, if we drop, is going to be one of the bigger droppers out there. It's not... cheap based... I just want to know, Shane... Because everybody tells me they're always so... What's it based cheap on? Based on past price? Because it looks like it's in price discovery. That doesn't mean it's cheap. It can only go up from there. How? Why do you say that? We're at 3 cents. It can't just go up from here. That doesn't even make sense. Oh, you guys are fucking with me. I get it. Some of you are, at least. I'm being honest. I'm trying to be real with Shane. I'm not fucking with anybody. I'm being honest. Like... I just want to know what... I'm trying to find a reason why this is worth it right now is what I'm trying to do, but it looks like it fell off a cliff. And it's very possible that the lava takes it with it. I mean, I can try to make this bullish for you the best I can. Descending, I guess you could call it a descending wedge. Potential break out of said descending wedge. If we pull it in like this. You better hope that's what's happening, because if it's not, it's basically going to zero. It'll be a couple zeros down if this doesn't pan out, but that's hideous. I'm trying to see a symbol here that it's not a that it can't go any lower, but we've already, did we make a new low here this week already? We did. No, maybe not. Maybe not yet. God. No wonder nobody has any money in crypto. Some of these tokens, TAI. I mean, the good news is if you haven't bought it yet, it's down like, it's down infinity. But I mean, it does show a descending wedge there. So in theory, it did show up before though twice. So just be careful. I can see it already 2 or 3 times. It showed the same setup and fell. So this is from February of this year. Okay. No, I know, Shane. That's why I'm being so critical, because I know you haven't bought yet based on your question. I want to be as real as I can. It's fallen, Julie, from January 31st. This token was at 33 cents. It's April 15th. It's down 91%. Like, I know it looks like a fire sale, but oftentimes the fire sale only looks like a fire sale because the token was overvalued to start with. I think we can understand that in the alt market now, can't most of you? That's why I keep saying don't buy these tokens based on all-time highs from past cycles, because those past cycles may never come again. We got a gift in 2020. I mean a gift. With the blah, blah, blah. Because we had all this free money coming into the market that people didn't have that kind of money. Remember, and no other time in our lifetimes have they thrown us $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month for free for the ones who didn't want to work. Think about that. Or giving you stimulus checks. So we got to find that money, and I hear the M2 money supply all the time. Well, when exactly does that come into play? Like, are we down 75% when this happens, or is it happening in the near future? Because, you know, I'm questioning this. Like, because I'm not seeing, I see talk about it, but I'm not seeing like, oh, this is where we have to do this, or this is what. But we do have opportunity. That's the good thing. So what is a good token to buy nowadays? It's not token specific. It's cycle specific. Like if the whole market's going down, none. If it's one of those downturns, it would be no token's a good token to buy until it gets to where it needs to go. I may be slightly biased when we get into certain zones, but right now DGB has to invalidate, and this is where we talked. See how it bounced off of the pivot point at 941? That's where we had to have that last chance bounce point, because then we could create the V shape. I drew it out here with that downward, but it was in the way. But we drew the V and what it would have to do to be bullish. And right now, maybe DGB can be an outlier because it was in this rising wedge. It started breaking down. This is where it should go, but we had this one chance where it can bounce off, come up here. Remember this when we drew it out? And then it can start breaking up in fashions like that. So, and this would be fantastic if it does something like this. But that's what we're trying to see. Like, we need to make sure that these don't break down, because then it's, I don't even care if DGB breaks down, because it'll be more of a buying opportunity. But like, I might be biased, but everybody's always like, what's the good ones to buy on the way down? The ones I own, the ones that I buy. What do you mean? I do this every single day since March 21st of 2000, or March 24th of 2021, without a day off here. And what I buy, there's a reason why. So what's a good one to buy? Well, not XRP, because it's way too overvalued now, in my opinion. Because if you were buying it, you'd be looking at the deal at 35 cents, 50 cents, 75 cents, right? XLM, maybe. DGB, oh, Julie, he wants chippies. He's looking for you.
Right here, PT.
It might be, but like when I'm looking at them, there's a few that stand out for sure. Especially if they drop again. I'd be looking at ZIL. V-Chain's still within that range, and you've seen what VThor did, probably gave most of it back now. But V-Chain's one, when they start dropping, I'd look at. Algo is always one that I continuously look at. It hasn't had a huge breakout yet. You might have doubled up now from where it was at when it was in the last, like, you know, the last drop-off. You know, I stay away from anything Ethereum based. So it's like anything that runs on the Ethereum network or it's tied in with Ethereum. I'm under the impression now maybe, stay away from it until it proves that it's done dropping. Because if you're in something like Ethereum and it drops of 1.2%, there's a bunch of them on this list that are based with Ethereum. Canto is one of them that somebody always wants me to watch. There's just a few of them. Well, not on my list, but there's a few of them that run off it. And they're gonna drop more than Ethereum. That's the issue. Remember for 8 months. Thoughts on Gala? Who was that for 8 months? Let's see my phone real quick. I just want to make sure that you think who that is too and acknowledge properly. 1970 legend. Thank you for being in Tom's Army for 8 months now. XRP predictor. I love it. What's your thoughts on Gala? Let's see, my fellow army member. Ugh, they all. And unless these play out, we are in trouble, is what I'm saying, okay? That's what I'm saying. I used to cover, I've covered all of these for a long time. I haven't looked, I tried to keep it in a smaller passion or smaller area. But look, we had premature breakout and they didn't pan out. They didn't pan out. They did not pan out. That's devastating for Gala. Now, if it breaks down, it's a big problem. Because this is technically showing, and it's so weird. Because you have to look at it in the weekly. Those were artificial breakouts that actually invalidated themselves. These breakouts, my targets actually were mostly hit from the consolidation. But we have higher lows and lower highs. Even though we had a couple breakouts in the weekly, they came right back in when they started breaking down. What does it look like in the monthly? I'm always fascinated. Those are big breakouts to come back in. I'm just saying. That monthly looks god-awful. And now that it came back within the zone, in theory, it should be coming all the way back to... Remember the half a cent? Oh, baby. Half a cent. But look at that volume in the monthly. It's crashing. This is good sign eventually here. So we'll see how this 15-day period ends. Maybe we do get some volume here around, I don't know, Easter. The day after Easter, if it's meant to be. All I'm telling everybody is you want this market to drop 10 to 15%. You want it to drop down there. Let it die down going into the weekend. Let it die down going into Easter. And then Monday morning... There's a very real chance that it could have some kind of nice miraculous turnaround. But if we if we have some kind of premature move now, it could be a problem. It really could be a problem. Let's see. I don't even remember which one it was on. Whatever. But we need this corrective. I think we need the corrective. You're welcome, Shane. Oh, XRP Healthcare. I do need to talk about that. What did Shane say? Question, Tom. If XRP is supposed to go live and have trillions come to XRP, why is 210 too high for XRP? I didn't say it's too high for the price. I said it's too high for me to buy. Because, my friend, XRP to me was the right value at 50 cents, 30 cents. Under $1 especially. But under 50 cents more particular, I think is a better value. Everything with XRP is all speculation right now. And for me, I'm not interested in raising my average up. Like if you didn't buy, I might not be overvalued, but people are asking me what I think is a good deal. I don't think XRP is a good deal at $2.11. Hang me to the cross. I'm going to check out my son real quick. What time is it?
5:55.
How long have I been on?
In an hour.
But no, I don't think XRP it's not a good price for me. You guys are asking my perspective. From my perspective, I don't think it's at the bee's knees price because even if it goes to $4, it's a 1x move. I think if XRP moves to $4, you're gonna have a slew of them that are gonna move way more than 1x. This is the issue right now. But a move to $4 for you guys, if you buy it right here, it's like a 90% move. For anybody who already owns it, where we bought it in the bear market, you know, for most, if anybody bought it with me, you know, like you're talking about a 600% move on that same 1x move for somebody else. So I don't know. Like to me, there's a better opportunities here. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying.
Hey.
In fact, I think to piss off some people, and not in a bad way, and JW, I'm not saying this in a dickish way, believe me. Because I can hear you saying, Tom, make sure you don't go down that slippery slope. And I'm not, I promise. But I could see, I'm glad somebody brought this up. I'm glad somebody brought ADA up. I really am. Because when it had the overzealous breakout, I said, I am interested. It's just not yet. Not yet. Because I wanted to see it give it all back. Because, you know, sometimes you have a gut feeling. And it may not give it all back. But I knew it was going to give a substantial portion. Because most of the people who bought it were only buying it on that news. Oh, it's part of the strategic reserve. So once something is only valued at that rate, you know. So, yes, I'm interested. The bottom line is I'm interested. There's potential. And like I said, I talked about this. Well, I can't say like I said because you might be new. So you might not know. But I said, I had a long discussion about ADA. And I said, I'm going to let my personal bias go. And my personal hatred, which I don't even hate him that much. It's just how he threw XRP and Ripple under the bus for a while in 21 and 2. And I said I wasn't going to buy Charles Hawkinson shit until, you know, the time. Well, I acknowledge that once it comes to a certain level, it might be the time. So, yeah, I am probably going to buy ADA when it gets to that point. There's no doubt about it. And I'm going to take out my personal bias. So, what's a good one to buy if it gets to where I want it to? ADA. It's a good one to buy. Remember, if. And I'm passing very hardcore up here. I would pass. Because I don't think it's a good value yet. And I go back into the little segments of the chart, how it was starting to chop. But it's got these exact same chop zones. Like even if you come across from the next layer, you're chopping. You know, so is this where it finally holds, or is it going to come all the way back down to 20 cents and just revalidate these uptrends? Like, this is what I kind of feel like crypto. We're at that. I don't want to call it the Mendoza line, but we are at that time frame now to where crypto's going to have to decide, are we going for a whole reset to like validate uptrends, validate cycle uptrends, validate pattern uptrends? Like, we're in a weird spot, especially with liquidity that could flow in. Like, that's why I always say we got to make a decision here, but we can't make an emotional decision. But like for this pattern's already, it's so hard to just dictate like what it would do down there. But I can dictate a few things. Up, we crashed all the way back down here. So watch. Fill the gap. Fill the gap. Fill in the gap. Break up. Only gap not filled right here. So right now I think it's better than not shot that. Where would I base a buy-in on ADA? And I'll circle it. So like when you're coming up here, filled, right? Back up. Small dip here, never dip back to here. So if you're asking me, that's where I'm looking. I'm looking for the, okay, we hit here, tapped, did not tap back here for some reason and just went up. So I would say probably well, I'm going to take this off again. This is my own algorithm. I don't base it on somebody else's. This is my own algorithm in my head. This is what my head's telling me. And it processes very quickly what I'm seeing because I do the same thing over and over and over because I want to be a pro at it. I want to be a genius when it comes to what I'm doing. The art of my craft, I don't want anybody to be better or see it the same way as me. So I literally do this every single day and I watch it. I watch it. I'm like a machine. I'm like AI. I just watch it. So I would say for me, the best spot would be somewhere around 22, 23 cents. 22, 23 cents. Which means we're going to break through here. This death cross is going to play out. And, oh my. Okay, that's a pretty hefty drop down. I didn't know it was that big of a drop when I was going on my ramble. That's what I'm saying. We could have some big news. Big drops. Then you ask yourself, why are they trying to make crypto look so bullish? The only reason they would try to make it look so bullish on every front is if they're trying to use us as exit liquidity, which I've been saying since December. You know, I don't want my audience to be caught up in all this shit. I don't. But I can see it. I can see it. I can hear it. I can feel it. I can see what everybody's saying. I have such an advantage when it comes to the general public just because I can watch what the general public says. I am the general public, but I have 33,000 people in my audience here now, which is crazy to say. 33,300 plus. And I can see just everybody's opinion in one. I can see what everybody says. I can see what they're feeling in the lives. I can see what they're saying in the Telegram. I can see in the comments. I got a lot of people calling me an asshole the last few days. And I'm like, oh, you know, even though I don't appreciate it, I do appreciate the fact you are saying it because at least you're saying something. But you're directing it in the wrong way. Like, don't let your personal emotion of a bad buy say, oh, well, this guy's an asshole now because it's his fault it's going down. Ripple bought Hidden Valley Ranch. They might as well have.
Popular.
Frankie, they always do when I start talking about this. No, I'm not saying to short it. I'm not saying to short ADA because, you know, in a volatile market, it can, in these kind of markets, it can go either way. But I'm not a financial advisor, so if you want to short it and then you tell us your results, I would be more than happy to listen. Oh, you said Tom, not an asshole. I said China is an asshole, not you. Oh, I wasn't talking about you, James. But I see you're covering for calling me an ant. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, we're in an uncertain pattern.
I call him a dick every day.
Yeah, Julie calls me a dick every day, so, you know. It is what it is. Yeah. All in the name of love. All right, we'll talk about XRP Healthcare for a second. What's a good buying price for Ondo? No price. I don't know. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of Ondo. I know there's connections, but I don't know. As of right now, I'm not a big fan. We'll see. But what I've said, guys, I always tell you, look at my list. That's the list that I am comfortable with. All these other ones that get thrown my way, I'm not exactly comfortable with. Alchemy Pay is one that if it does drop down, is one that I am super interested in. Super. As in fact, I've been charting it and watching it secretly. Julie knows I've talked about Alchemy Pay a few times now. Do you remember me talking about it, Julie? Alchemy Pay after the oh, you never listened to me anyhow, so you're gonna know.
I'm the dick.
You see, yeah, see, she even said it. She's the dick. All right, so speaking of XRP Healthcare, so we can spend a little bit of time on it. I seen the partnership. It was actually rumored a few days ago, and then the price shot up a little bit. Had a nice move the other day. I don't know if it came back down. I'm gonna have to look at it. But so I don't care about that part of it. There was something that came out a couple days ago. They talked about the global M2 money supply and all this crap. But they talked. Everyone's watching charts. We're watching momentum. While the world waits for capital to flow, XRP Healthcare is already moving, acquiring, building, and preparing for IPO. The money is coming. We'll be ahead of it. XRP Healthcare is glad to be... Oh, who cares about that crap? Where was this other thing? Featured on page 23. Don't care. This was the other part. So their AI goes global here in the rural Africa and their global cities. They're doing their healthcare. This is the AI part of the healthcare. I think this is going to be big. But the big news was they keep talking about this IPO, and that's something we've been waiting for years. Is this IPO? Well, not years, but for a while. It's part of their roadmap too, so it's very clear what they want to do. So now XRP healthcare. Do I think it's going to hold this structure? I really don't know. I don't know. It could very well come all the way back down. That's how bad this market's getting. And with the instability with what is going on, and it's not because of Trump. They're using, we're being led to believe it's Trump, but the market had to do this regardless. If it didn't have to do this regardless, why would I have been calling for this well before Trump was in office? Well before we knew anything about tariffs, I was calling for this exact drops in this market. So, and I already sold 70% of my crypto before Trump even got in office. So it obviously wasn't because of Trump that I thought the market was going to drop. We were overbought. My local gas station attendee was telling me I should buy crypto when he was telling me I was an idiot for 2 years for buying crypto. That's all I needed to know. I started hearing the buzz on the street was about Bitcoin and all this other shit. And it's like, well, if the talk of the town is Bitcoin, I probably shouldn't be in crypto. And then I started pushing mining stocks and precious metals a lot, especially the mining stocks. And they've done us really well here as crypto's gone, so it's a trying time. It's a trying time. 51 minutes. Man, do I gotta go soon too. But I want to look at Alchemy Pay because I'm gonna be honest with you guys. If there's one token that I am very interested in adding to my bag that is not there, this is one of them. This is one of them, and it was before even the partnership with HBAR. I like Alchemy Pay. It has a very bright future. It's just at 5 and 6 cents, I couldn't do it. Like, I'm looking at it up there, and I just couldn't do it. It sucks that it's way up this week, but that's what happens when you get major partnerships. And is that a missed opportunity when it came right to my support? Yeah, it is a missed opportunity, I would say. I wasn't watching it, but I had this drawn out so perfectly where I wanted to buy it. And I got caught up in the rest of the market, which happens a lot. That's why sometimes I feel like I do myself a disservice because I delegate into too many areas when I'm talking about things in my lives. Oh, absolutely, ATI. Beautiful. See, so you've seen exactly what I was seeing back then, and you sold for the same reasons I did. The only ones, I kept a few, but like I said, 70% went. And I am so glad I did it. And I decided to do the work in my house, and I got my new floors in the living room, in the hallway, the dining room. I got my new kitchen. I did a new kitchen. Basically remodeled my whole house on the front end. Got new windows. All this stuff. But yeah, I'm going to watch Alchemy Pay as we continue to go forward. Canto down 3.6%. But we're watching for a reversal. Canto a lot of times does show us. And I did circle these areas. So that's where we have to see. We're trying to form this inverse pattern. So a lot of it does look like it's trying finally to do it. It's just a very small sample size. So in the 4-hourly, you can see it. But if you go into the weekly, is it possible? It is possible. It's just, we got to be careful here because that could have formed like a, I don't want to say a gravestone. I hope not. Ooh, that's a close one. That might be a gravestone. Maybe that's, ooh. I don't know. We'll see. We better hope that the market is getting ready to reverse, for some of us. But I'm still, there's a few I'm watching. Like Alchemy Pay I'm watching. I'm very closely watching Theta. Because if Theta is, in fact, running the market, and it does come down here, and it pushes somehow these lower levels, I'm going to be all over Theta. I'm going to be over Theta as much as, did Winnie Pooh like honey? Julie?
Yeah.
Okay. Did Winnie Pooh like honey?
Winnie the Pooh.
What did I call him? Winnie Pooh? Winnie the Pooh. But he liked honey, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I like Theta if it drops down here. So I'm going to be stuck to it. Just like Winnie the Pooh. What do I call him? Winnie Pooh? What can I say?
I don't know why that's funny.
It is funny. But look, another daily bearish engulfing candle for Theta. This is unbelievable. I'm glad my cousin listened to me after a long time. But now he'd be, if he's seen Theta at 66 cents, he'd rip out the last of the hair he has. If he still had it. Yeah, like Yogi and picnic baskets. Does Yogi the Bear like picnics? You know? Hey, boo boo. Yep. I haven't seen that in a long time. Hey, somebody just said hey, boo boo in the comments too after we did. Listen to this audience. We're a fun group here. But this fun has to come to an end because I do have to go. But I want to do one thing before we leave. When it seems a little glim out here, when it seems like everything's going down the shitter, when it feels that way, when it looks that way, in fact, because let's face it, Filecoin invalidated an inverse head and shoulders, a rather large one there. That kind of sucks balls, if you ask me. Sorry for being so blunt. But forget about that. You know, we're going to have a little bit of fun here real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, I know what time it is. Eventually, you'll know what time it is if I can get this drawing tool out. But ladies and gentlemen, I know what time it is. Do you know what time it is? Ladies and gentlemen, the sunny days are here again. Oh, sunny days. Oh, what a day. Oh, sunny days. Oh, what a day. I wear glasses 'cause I can't see a motherfucking thing. Happy days. Oh, happy days. Oh, what a day. Oh, happy days. Oh, what a day. XRP will reign supreme. Let's just not forget the FUD. Oh, we're gonna crash and we did and we will and we may and we won't and we will and we have and we did and we didn't and we will and we won't and they say we will and we won't and we can and we won't and we did and we won't and we will and we will. Oh yeah, stay true, stay blessed. I think he's doing rather well today. Is he gonna be crying though?
Looks like a lot of up arrows. He's wishful thinking.
He is wishful thinking, but even he doesn't know what's going on today.
A halo or a hat.
It kind of does. Looks like he's smoking a doobie. I think he is. He fit that in right before the FUD. I love the sunny days. We've been doing this since like April of 2021. At the time, I had like 100 people following me. They're like, what the hell is this guy doing? So I remember they're like, you want us to believe you in the charts and you're drawing this crap? And don't quit your day job. I'm like, day job? This is my day job drawing this guy. No.
He's come a long way.
He has come a long ways. He has. But bless you all. Thank you all, everybody. Make sure you do look in the video description below and or the pinned comments of this very video even. And get on BITUNIX. Lowest spot leverage trading fees. No KYC or VPN worldwide. Lowest maker taker. Available in the USA. You don't need to do all the shenanigans. XRPs there. So many others are. I use it to save on fees, period. End point blanks, done. I send it from exchange to exchange, wallet to wallet, as long as they have it, so I can swing trade, do whatever I got to do. But other than that, it's been an awesome live. I appreciate the vibe. And even I was a little quieter today.